Hello everybody, welcome to the second session of the 2020 OR Society Careers Open Day. Welcome back if you were with us for the first session. Welcome for the first time if you're new. The video recordings from the first session will be available to everybody in the very near future, so you will be able to catch up on that. Okay, before we get started, I'm just going to run through some basic housekeeping. Sorry for repeating this if you're in the first session, but it's important that everyone knows how things are going to work. We suggest that you, while the presentations are going on, that you position the speaker box up in the top right-hand corner of your screen so that you can see all of the information on the slides. Please use the chat function if you want to send us messages rather than raising your hand. We'd encourage you to submit questions for the panelists for the Q&A session that we've got towards the end of this session. Use the Q&A function which appears on the bottom line of the control panel. You should be able to see which questions are being submitted. And if you have preferences for any particular questions, you can click on the thumb symbol to upvote them, and they shoot to the top of the list, depending on their popularity. As I mentioned, we record these sessions, so the videos will be available as soon as we can after the whole day is finished. And you should be aware that we've got a system of one-to-one appointments with exhibitors. So if you haven't already done so, make sure you book them as soon as you can to avoid disappointment. Now, we were having a little bit of shuffling around of the orders for this session. So I do apologize if that doesn't quite match what you're expecting. We're going to start off with COMSIS from the University of Southampton, then we'll jump back to Capgemini, DSTL and Smith Institute. So we've got 4 reasonably short presentations. Please submit your questions through the presentations, and we'll have a session at the end for all 4 exhibitors to answer the questions you're submitting. So we're going to start off with University of Southampton COMSIS. So I'll introduce Tony Martinez, who's the director of COMSIS. He'll be joined by his colleagues, Julie Hickman, who's industrial liaison for COMSIS, and Alan Zenko, who's an associate professor in OR at the School of Maths at Southampton. And they'll be joined later by another of their colleagues, Peter, another industrial liaison officer. So Tony, over to you.
Thank you, Gavin. I will share my screen. Okay, so hope you can see the slides now.
Yeah.
That's great, thank you. So yeah, my name is Tony Martinez. I am the director of COMSIS, which is the Center for Operations Research, Management Science and Information System, based in the University of Southampton. COMSIS spans into schools, the Mathematical Science and the Southampton Business School. We have the 3 speakers today. On the left, we have Alain. He's an associate professor in mathematical science. And on the right, we have our liaison officer, Julie, one of our liaison officers, Julie Hickman. And this time last year, we actually had the event organized face-to-face. It was very lovely. Peter Beck on the right and Alan Senko on the left, were representing us. We had also we see there our alumni, Caroline is there representing DSTL. That was lovely. And actually, this year we had one of our students, Joe Bumpton, who managed to win the best the Mexico Awards, the Mexico Awards. And actually, we had Kylan winning that prize last year in 2019 as well. So I will briefly introduce why to come to Southampton to study one of our MSc or BSc courses. And then we'll handle to Alain, who will talk about the programs we're offering, and Julie Hickman will talk about careers and employability. So why to come to Southampton? Well, we have a very nice environment, good, very nice facilities, good weather in principle. And we were brave enough to put Southampton Football Club there because we are on the top of the league now, which is something to celebrate so far. And of course, we have been ranked 9 in the world on the QS Global Rankings in 2021. Subject specific in statistics and OR, we were ranked 37 in the world, 13 in Europe, 8 in the UK. And we had Mayhicks Awards this year and last year. So we deliver success here. So as a research group in operations research, management science and analytics, we are one of the largest groups in the UK. We have been achieving impact and increasing our research reputation over the last 50 years. We are over 70 researchers, and we have generally over 200 MSc students across the 6 programs we offer in both schools. We have strong links with industry, commerce, public sector, and non-governmental organizations. Julie will talk about that a bit more. We offer some industrial-based projects, MSc projects. And we have a extensive UK and international network. So now these are some of the areas of our expertise: simulation, optimization, methodology-based, and healthcare, predictive, prescriptive analytics, transport and logistics, and risk and uncertainty. With also, since beginning of this year, probably you know, with COVID-19, we have been involved in many different research activities helping on that. Now I will handle to Alain, please.
Okay, thank you, Tony, for the nice introduction. So as Tony just mentioned, we have, so the COMSIS is kind of a joint venture between the Southampton Business School and Mathematical Sciences. So we have a number of, so basically 4 programs that are run from the maths side. So specifically by the Operational Research Group, which is based in maths. And we also have 4 programs which are run in the business school sites. So first, I'm going to say a few words about the background of the sort of programs that we offer in maths. So we have at the undergraduate level, the main program we have is the BSc MORS. So as the name says, so the program is a mix of mathematics, operational research, statistics, and economics. So so the main team across all the programs that we have within COMSIS, which are aligned to COMSIS, are, so we provide so quantitative techniques for decision making, essentially. So that's the main team of all the programs that we have. Then we have different kind of weighting depending on the specific aspects that you program that you do. So the undergraduate is, we have a 3 years option, and we also have a 4-year option, with the last year being focused on the project, on the research project. So, and in the MSCs, we have these 3. The data and decision analytics one is more recent, and it has as core subjects, you have things like statistical learning, deterministic methods for operational research. You also have stochastic methods, and also more machine learning courses. So it kind of has a mix of all the key subjects that you would expect in kind of the current very popular subject of artificial intelligence, as many of you might have heard of. So the operational research program is a more standard program that we've had like really since the beginning of COMSIS. It's been there, I think, at least for 30 years, I guess. So, there are many common courses that you have across the 3 subjects. And in the finance one, you have an emphasis on how you use operational research to solve a number of problems in finance. And one of the ones which probably many of you would be aware of is portfolio management. So we have kind of how you use operational research techniques to solve problems in those areas as an example. So please, can you move to the next slides? So these are the business schools ones. So as I said, the common theme between our programs is that we provide largely quantitative skills for this optimal decision making, essentially, which is one of the main goal of the OR Society, which promotes this sort of agenda. So, and the difference between the business school and the maths programs typically is that besides the more quantitative subjects which are studied as well in the business school, you have a good number of more soft skills which are taught in the business school programs, like consultancy skills, which are of course open to math students as well. You also have management, project management courses and so on. So that's one of the main differences that you have. And in the business BSc, business analytics with placement that you have at the top there. So it's a program, it's an undergraduate program which has a placement option. So you can take it for a 3-year without placement or a 4-year basis with a 3rd year of placement. Then you come back to complete your final year. So that's the specificity of that. The maths one, you can do a placement as well, but it's not kind of integrated into the program in a sense. So, so broadly speaking, yeah, so these programs, some of them are more recent and they have been growing significantly as you would expect with the developments that we have in the area of artificial intelligence, especially our master's programs. They've been growing quite rapidly. So, yeah, we could come back a bit more in details in the questions if you want to understand a bit more about this. Maybe next slide, please. Yeah, so so we have the links here for our open days. So I assume probably you would have access to the slides. So we have one open day, I think, coming in early December, I think. I think Julie will probably confirm this. Maybe to close this, I would just like to maybe add a few comments on the fact that one of the also common theme between all our programs is that we offer skills related to computational elements of science more broadly, as you would expect. So we offer courses on Python, R, and almost all the courses, the quantitative courses that we have, they have an element of computation, some software skills which are incorporated in them and so on. And we also actually teach things like Python and so on, and they are incorporated in a lot of the courses that we teach, so which are quite crucial skills in this age, as you can imagine. So we will be happy to come back to that into the question session. So I would give the floor to Julie to continue.
Hi there. Thank you very much, Alan. Thank you very much, Tony. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in to the Southampton session. Just a quick introduction about myself and my colleague, Peter Beck. You can see us in this image with one of our students. It's taken pre-COVID, just to reassure everyone. Peter and I joined the University of Southampton in 2015 from industry. My background is with PwC and with logistics with DHL International. So that sort of background. Peter has been in OR for the whole of his career, latterly with Capgemini, who I know are presenting today. And he joined with me because he was a recruiter from Southampton University, recruited students to Capgemini. So he flipped and he joined the university sort of from the other side of things, really. So Peter and I work together, and our primary role is the kind of external facing element of the Cormesis MSc and other programs, and to make sure that students get exposure to industry, all sorts of industry, all sorts of individuals, and also to make sure that our programs are relevant when people are looking for employment and they've got the right skill set. So we ensure that we continuously seek feedback from our external contacts. So next slide, please. Okay, so coming on to our real world projects, this is very much focused around the Cormesis MSc programs, and this really is one of the unique things, I think anyway, about Southampton. We offer for the MSc dissertation, so the sort of third semester, the opportunity to compete for an external project. So it's kind of almost like a mini consultancy assignment, and we run a kind of careers and employability interviewing session. So students get to kind of experience the kind of real world interviewing scenario for a particular project or initiative. So this is some of the projects we were able to offer this year. As you can imagine, it was a very different year this year. In previous times, the projects were face-to-face, and we very much enjoyed students actually going and co-locating with project sponsors around the UK and beyond. But this year we switched our projects to virtual working, which from feedback so far seems to have been a success. But it's a really great opportunity for industry and academia to work together through the student projects. So it's something that Peter and I are very passionate about, and it's something that is really attractive for students thinking about joining Cormesis programs. Moving to the next slide. More generally, again, one of the areas Peter and I focus on is external industry engagement. So I've just put a few items on here just to sort of demonstrate some of the things we do. We have a strong relationship with Boeing. We run a case study. Boeing sponsors some of our prizes at our prize giving, and we're very much appreciative of their support for what we do. And we had a PhD student who left us to join Boeing, and I see in the chat there was an interest about a question related to PhDs, and that's fantastic. We haven't covered it in this program, but it is something that we would very much like to share with those that are interested. We also recognise that some students are interested in starting up their own businesses. So as a university, we've got seed funding, we've got Future Worlds, we've got lots of opportunities for people to explore their own ideas. But likewise, we work with EFMD Global. We participate in their virtual careers fairs, where global organisations are engaged in recruiting in different parts of the world. So there's EMEA for Europe, Asia Pacific and the Americas, looking at different sorts of sectors. So we're actively involved in that community as well. We have a fantastic alumni community, and do connect with us on Cormesis alumni group on LinkedIn if you would like to keep in touch. And there's an image there of one of our students who, a Chinese student that's actually working for Facebook in the UK. And actually she came back this year to speak to our students. So semester 1 for Cormesis MSc programs, we always have some practitioner talks. So students get a sense of what they can achieve with their MSc or other qualification from the University of Southampton. So just to move on to the next slide, we are also aware that actually our students are amazing and they achieve great things. So this is us actually in February celebrating success, and Boeing very much support us in this. And we gather together students, academics, sponsors, academic supervisors and external sponsors to share success and to celebrate the kind of achievement of those students and moving forward into developing their careers in the future. So it's a really good time for us to bring everyone together and to celebrate the Cormesis community. So moving to the next slide. Really, this is us again. This is Alan, Tony and myself. You will get these slides separately, but we just want to sort of share with you our email addresses. So if you want to contact us around any of the areas that we've discussed. Obviously, there are questions, but if you want to do that individually, our contact details are there. Call my sister on Twitter, so do follow us. Or if you want to join our group on LinkedIn, you'd be most welcome. So I think that's it for this session. And thank you all for listening in and for your time. And I really hope that's provoked some interest for you. And I hope to answer some of your questions later on. Thank you, Gavin.
Great. Thanks, Julie. Thanks, Tony and Alain, for that session. So we got questions flowing in through the Q&A function. We'll be dealing with those at the Q&A session at the end of this after we've heard from 3 more of our exhibitors. So I'm going to jump straight into the second group, and that's Capgemini. Many moons ago, I was a consultant at Capgemini. So we got Aberdeen Sadiq and Tanyaka Niamande, both associate consultants, both of whom graduated from the University of Nottingham. So over to you guys.
Thank you very much. I'll just share my screen and then we'll kick off. Let me know when you can see it. Can everyone see that?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Cool. No worries. Yeah, so yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're having a good time. So welcome to our Careers Day exhibition. So we're just going to give you a quick whistle-stop tour about Capgemini Invent, some of the capabilities that we offer, a day in the life of being a management consultant, and how you can apply your analytical skills to a fulfilling career. So just to kick off, to introduce ourselves. So as kindly mentioned, I'm an associate consultant. I did a mathematics degree at the University of Nottingham. And within Capgemini, my practice is insight-driven enterprise. So it's just more focusing on the data science capabilities of my work. Over to you, Tanaka.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tanaka. I'm also an associate consultant in the same practice as Aberdeen in insight-driven enterprise. We both went to the University of Nottingham, and I studied economics there. I'm fairly new at Capgemini. I'm in my 3rd month now, but I'm in something called the Institute, which is something we just launched, which I'll be talking to you about a bit later. But yeah, because I studied economics, I did have a bit of a quantitative background with my degree, but it was all quite basic. So within my dissertation, I'd done a bit of time series regression analysis, and that sparked my interest in analytics in general, and that's why I decided to apply to Capgemini.
Yeah, I can share similar thoughts with that with you, Tanaka. So I joined about just over a year ago, and I just remember feeling that I wanted to continue using the analytical skills that I gained with my math studies. So like, again, like regression analysis or logistic regression, and just kind of seeing how that can be applied into real world solutions. So I was always really keen to get involved with a job that encapsulates that. And I feel like Gemini is definitely a place where you can do all types of data science and machine learning and apply it to real world situations. So that was my motivation for kind of finding a career in consulting. Moving on to the next slide. So just to give you a brief overview of Capgemini. So our slogan is to bring into life what's next. So we always try to be as innovative, that's the word, innovative, with our ideas and our propositions. So we're always trying to see where we can add value to businesses and where we can make sure they're running as efficiently as possible. So Capgemini is made up of 2 arms. So we have the main Capgemini group, which is not consulting, but more of a back end. So this is working on, I guess, more of internal projects in the business and more of a developing side of the business. So that's like the larger arm. So it's like, you know, spread across multiple countries, hundreds of thousands of employees. So stretching from America, which opened about 5 or so years ago, to India, France, the UK, etc. So there's quite a bit of opportunity to network with your employees around the world, which is an underrated part of the job. And we also have the Invent arm where me and Tanaka reside. So this is the consulting arm. So we have offices all over the UK. And this is where we work with clients at their client sites to deliver their desired solutions. Moving on to the next slide. So what Capgemini really desires is a mindset that desires a change. So as we know, the world is moving really quickly, and even with this year, things are changing at a pace where sometimes we have to act immediately if we want to sustain ourselves. So having a mindset that always focuses on what's next, always focuses on how to adapt to current situations is very key to life, and also as part of the job. Just to give a breakdown of the capabilities that Capgemini Invent offers. So it's made up of 6 capabilities. So depending on your skill set or desires, you can fall into one of these 6 capabilities. So if you are more analytically driven, that's for insight-driven enterprise. If you're more focused on the tech side of things, there's also capabilities such as future technology. There's also capabilities that deal with branding and customer engagement, innovation and strategy, and just dealing with people and how to manage people in organizations as well. Just to give you a bit of a flavor of some of the clients that we've worked with. We work with clients across all different sectors, as you can see here. So from financial sectors to public sector to the automotive industry. So if you want a career that gives you a good insight to multiple industries, I think consulting is a really good place to start. So as you can see, we've worked with clients such as IKEA, Unilever, Free, HSBC. So if you do change your career down the line, I guess you kind of had a feel of what that industry would be like should you move on. So now I'm going to pass it over to Tanaka, who's going to give you a brief overview of the Accelerate program and the institute and the things that contains.
Okay, so we call our graduate program the Accelerate program, and it's broken down into, well, it's 12 months overall, broken down into 4 distinct categories. So because I'm a new joiner, I'm currently in the first phase, which is called the Institute. And in the Institute, this is a 12-week phase where we get to do on-the-job training, working on internal work that benefits and gives value to the Invent community. So this isn't necessarily client work, but it's internal work that enables us to build and develop our consulting skills to ensure that by the time I've finished or you finished in the Institute, you've developed your skills to a point where you're ready to be client facing. So I've had a lot of opportunities to work on varied projects and assignment within the Institute. Had a lot of practice with my presentation skills, Excel skills, just project management skills in general. And hopefully by the time I finish the Institute, I'll be ready to hop onto a client engagement. Can I get the next slide, please?
No worries.
So as you can see, the Institute is 3 months long. The next phase is foundation, and this provides you the opportunity to start working on real life client engagements. That obviously I haven't started yet, but Aberdeen will know a lot more about. And during this phase, you get the opportunity to work on some certifications and accreditations as well. I'm really looking forward to starting the Harvard X data science certification and really build on my foundational analytics skills. And within the last phase, which is the academy, this is the last year of the program where you really become embedded into your capability unit. So because I'm in insight-driven enterprise, this is when I'll formally join that capability, and I'll be able to specialize within a certain skill or within a field. Potentially, if I'm interested in a specific sector, this would be the opportunity for me to get that knowledge and experience as well.
Cool. I'm just going to take a pause here. I know we're getting quite a few questions. So the first question is talking about the learning opportunities and progression. So I know Janaka just spoke about that. There's plenty of learning opportunities within Capgemini, and what's really good about that is you can tailor it to what you desire to do. So not everyone has to take the same educational learning path within Capgemini. If you are more focused on the customer side of things, there are courses that will tailor towards that. If you are more focused on the technical side of things, there are courses available for that. Not everyone has to do the same thing. Sorry. Is it
we'll do the questions later on. Sorry,
okay.
Adrian.
No.
You just focus on the presentation, and we'll try and get all these in the Q&A session.
Cool. No worries. Thanks, Evan. Sorry. Thanks, Amy. Sorry. So I'll just continue on. Sorry, I think it's frozen. There we go. So yeah, I'll just give you a brief overview of the IDE Academy, as that's what I'm currently within. So like Tanaka, I was part of the Accelerate program. So I did my 9 months of the Accelerate program and I moved on to the IDE Academy. So this is 12 months where you get to further enhance your analytical skills. So anyone can come from any level of analytical skills. So you can start from someone who's just curious and wants to learn on the job, or you can come as someone who's had experience elsewhere. This is where you get put into a sub capability depending on your desires and your skill set. So you have the data science team, visualization, AI advisory, things like this. You also contribute to internal work, so it could be helping on propositions or helping as part of a working group. So we have a couple working groups where we will just have a massive exercise between like a large group of people, and we'll do it within a specific code and language. So example, R or Python or things like this. So this is just really to help people kind of build their skills, as well as help the more experienced people kind of mentor the people who don't have as much skills in some of the coding side of things. So just this slide more breaks down the capabilities of the insight-driven enterprise. As you know, we're focusing more on the STEM side of things for this careers fair. So we have on the AI advisory sub-capability unit, we have AI strategy, visualization, and RPA strategy. So this is more of how can we implement AI into a business. Not so more the doing so, just more of that, okay, if a business comes to us with an analytical problem, how can we go about implementing that strategy into that business? We have AI development. So this is more of the deployment side, deliverable side. So we have data science and platforms. So what type of data science machine learning solutions are we delivering to the client? What platform would that be on? So there's stuff such as Microsoft Azure or Google Cloud platforms or Amazon Web Services. So this is all really just client dependent on which solution do we take, or just choose one which is best for the business. And then we also have AI services. So this more focuses on the customer side of things. So how can we implement AI services that will help further improve the customer experience? So I know, like, for example, personalization is such a huge thing in today's world. So if you go on Argos, for example, you might want to get recommended things that are specific to you, or you go onto Netflix, for example, you want to be recommending movies that are tailored to your needs. So this capability is more focused on that side of things. But across the three capabilities, everyone takes part in sales and propositions, training, just operations within the team, such as social events and things like this. And just training sessions. So people take part in showcases where they show people what they've done over the last quarter and things like this. So even if you're in different teams, everyone gets a chance to communicate with one another and get involved. So just to go over like a day in the life more so of what a management consultant would be like. So not at the moment due to the pandemic, but normally there would be quite a lot of travel. So depending on where the client site is, you'll be expected to travel to and from that client site about a couple of times a week. So for example, you might have a client in Birmingham and you'll be commuting from London and working with the client face to face. But currently working from home, it's more talking with online with the clients on platforms such as Microsoft Teams or Skype, making sure they're updated. Also, for me personally, I also have a daily stand-up with my team just to touch base on what everyone's doing and making sure everyone's okay. It's quite flexible, so if you do need to work from home some days, that is perfectly possible. Most Fridays people do choose to work from home, so if you need something that fits your lifestyle, Capgemini can definitely provide that. There's a whole bunch of roles depending on what type of challenge you're looking for. So you're not necessarily restricted to an analytical role. If you do decide you want something maybe that deals more with the customer, you're more than happy to do that. And there's a large network system, especially within the insight-driven enterprise division of the business. We're a largely growing business, and we're getting more and more people who are very keen to get into the analytical world. So we have such a massive and quite a family-like network, which is quite enjoyable for me. Yeah, so now I'm just going to pass back to Naka, who's going to talk over the application process.
Yeah, I'll just do a really brief whistle-stop tour of this. So this is quite similar to a lot of other companies. However, I would say that the main thing that I enjoyed about this process was the strengths test. This is because it was really streamlined, and it didn't include too many different stages. So it included a verbal assessment, a numerical assessment, and a strengths assessment all in one, with also an opportunity to display my skills via a video interview. And I really enjoyed this because I also got to learn a lot more about the company through this process. After this was the assessment center, which I luckily got to do in person because this was before the pandemic. However, now we have to do everything virtually, so the assessment center will be done virtually as well. And this included a one-on-one interview and multiple group exercises and micro assessments. These weren't too difficult, but they really did test a lot of my skills, and it took me out of my comfort zone a great deal. So I would say for these, just the most important thing is to stay calm and to be yourself, and just let your natural strengths shine through. And yeah, finally was just joining the team. This was an incredibly smooth process. I got a 3-week induction at the start, where it was just meeting my team, networking with the wider community, a lot of socials as well, which was fun. So yeah, it was all around a really enjoyable process. And I know I'm really biased, but I would suggest that everyone applies to Capgemini if you are interested in the type of work that we do.
Yeah, if you want to keep in touch with us or speak to any of us, we'll send the pack after this meeting. So I think we sent it to Amy. So we should be able to have these packs to read over if you do wish so. We're also on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So you can keep up with the latest work that we're doing if you want to communicate with us. I'll add my LinkedIn in the chat as well, so you can communicate with me if you have any questions. Yeah, we will be free on Thursday for any one-to-one sessions if you do wish to speak to us. Yeah, I think now is a good time for questions. Do I have time for questions?
No, I'm gonna butt in. We'll leave the questions until the Q&A session after all of the presentations. So thanks to Aberdeen and Tanaka. We'll move on to our next session. So let's keep my introduction brief. Next session is from DSTL. That's the Defence Science and Technology Laboratory. So it's over to Ellie and Paul.
Hi, Ellie, I don't think we can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better.
Sorry about that. Oh, I did so many practices and it didn't pay off. So as I was saying to myself, essentially, I just want to explain a little bit about what DSTL does, and then a little bit about what I've done within my job and the graduate scheme. So a little bit about me first. I graduated from Oxford Brookes University with a BA in International Relations and Politics in 2019. During that time, I also gained a little bit of work experience in kind of the defence world through think tanks, particularly the Conflict Studies Research Centre, where I was based in Cambridge, and also attended and worked at the Cambridge Symposium on Economic Crime. And then in my final year at university, I applied to the DSTL graduate scheme and went through all the application process to then get accepted in about, I think it was March time. So I wrote my dissertation on grey zone warfare, which is a little bit about what I kind of work on now and really interested me at the time as well. And a little bit on the kind of fun stuff is I'm also part of the DSTL Netball Club. So we have quite a few sports clubs. Obviously, we had about 3 games before COVID hit. And I'm also a competitive skier and more recently for leisure as well. So what is DSTL? Hopefully this video will work. Let me just check. Apologies, I did forget to share the sound. Fingers crossed it now should work.
DSTL scientific experts have a deep operational understanding of defence and security, using a vast network and inside knowledge across government to deliver world-class science and technology. Our aim is to demystify and exploit science and technology for our customers so we can give them technical advantage and superior capability.
Oh gosh, right, I'll close that before it kicks off another video. So that's a little bit about DSTL. So as it mentioned, with the Defence Science and Technology Lab, we use essentially high impact S&T to keep the UK safe and secure. We provide specialist S&T, so science and technology, research advice, risk management and the likes to predominantly the Ministry of Defence as our main customer, as well as other government departments, and we also work with a lot of private industry as well. So the work we do is essentially spread across a huge amount of disciplines, and it brings together a kind of specialist society to work on solutions which couldn't be necessarily brought around anywhere else. Okay, right. So some of the DSTL sites. So we're based out of 4 sites, which are home to about 4,500 employees. So there's Portsdown West, Fort Halstead and Alverstoke. Portsdown West and Porton are our main sites, housing the kind of majority of employees. However, kind of Alverstoke and Fort Halstead are kind of more specialist. As well as our core sites, we also have DSTL embedded within numerous organisations within the country. So MOD, main buildings, Ministry of Defence, Department of Transport, kind of Home Office as well. And we also do international secondments. So we have some people embedded within the US and some within our counterparts in Australia, just to name a couple. So what we do, so hopefully all going well, we should have a poll to run. So I just want to ask, has anyone prior to today heard of DSTL? So I'll give that a couple of seconds just to get a kind of idea, because I know I hadn't heard of it before. Cool, so I think we can close the poll now, unless no one's voted. So essentially, I just wanted to get a gist as to how many of you have heard of us. Yeah, so it's about 50% hadn't, 23 is a yes, but only by name. So hopefully this will prove insightful for you guys. So actually, you may have heard of us without realizing, just through watching the news and some of the work that we have been involved in. So fingers crossed this is actually going to work. Gosh, it's been very slow. So we worked on the forensics on the Parsons Green bomber, which you may have remembered a while back now. We work on the Maple Autonomous. So this is like an autonomous Navy vessel, and particularly the C2 software within that, so the command and control software. Bringing the F-35 into service and the airworthiness support that surrounded that. And then probably most recently, and also most famously, the Salisbury incident, we were predominantly involved in the kind of identification of the nerve agent, as well as numerous other things within that. So our work has 4 main S&T product and service areas. So operational support, specialist advice and services, requirements and evaluation, and also research. And kind of our most predominant, so about 44% of our product and service areas is the research side of things, and that's predominantly where I work. So DSTL has 5 core divisions. So we have the kind of counterterrorism and security, platform systems, cyber and information systems, defense and security analysis, and chemical, biological, and radiological. I work in defense and security analysis. So predominantly we focus on kind of mainly within Ministry of Defense. And we look to, across the STL, we have 22 strategic capabilities that we try and cover within our 5 divisions. So this can range from cyber to platform weapons, and predominantly operational research, which is clearly relevant today. So as I said, I sit within defense and security analysis, so DSA. And this is just some of the stuff that we get up to within DSA. So the kind of wargaming, which I am particularly involved in, and we'll explain a little bit more about, simulation, data analytics, crime team, support operations. So since I joined, I didn't come with a huge amount of knowledge on most of this stuff. However, there is a learning curve, which is hugely supportive through everyone in your group and team. So just to kind of go down lower now, so we have the division, and then you have your groups. So I sit within the land environment group, which then also houses 4 teams, of which I'm in the land capability analysis team. So within the group, the kind of techniques and expertise we use is wargaming and combat modeling, as I kind of mentioned, which is both qualitative and quantitative research, which feeds into wargame and essentially understands how we fight, essentially. We do a lot on kind of land concepts, so it's looking at the future and the kind of threats we may face in the future and how we deal with that. And then just some of the other things, so we do go on quite a lot of exercises and can be deployed on the front line with military forces as well. So it is, it's definitely not a job for just sitting behind a desk. You can definitely get out in the field, which is always a good bit of fun. So a little bit about what I do. So I do like wargaming, as I mentioned. I'm going to talk a little bit about an exercise I went on, some historical analysis, and the land environment iHub, which I also worked on. Just quickly, those pictures down the right, that top one was taken by me. in which we basically just went out and saw what the army did. And they got to show off all their toys, basically. The middle one is a war game, and the bottom one is where I was based out of a vehicle hangar for 3 weeks in that very bright pink coat in a very, very cold hangar. So a little bit on wargaming. So this is the definition of wargaming. However, if you ask 20 people what wargaming is, they will give you all different definitions. So it is quite difficult to understand exactly, if you put it into parameters, what it is. So this is a little bit about what we think it is that we are essentially looking at wargaming and specific conflicts within a scenario, and it is shaped by the decisions and interactions of the players. So these are some of the types of war games that we run. So the kind of seminar war games are relatively open-ended. We have discussions between SMEs, so subject matter experts. So they will sometimes be internal, but we may also have military counterparts as well. We have Matrix, which is essentially causes interactivity. It has arguments and quite a lot of free thinking as well. And then we kind of go all the way through to computer assisted games, does what it says on the tin. So it's essentially using computers, which are a little bit more rigid compared to discussion. And then we have free Kriegspiel and rigid Kriegspiel. The free one is essentially a traditional war game. If you imagine an old film with moving counters around a board, that's kind of the gist we're getting at. But it's done with adjudication from an expert umpire, whereas a rigid one is done with a set rule. And COAs is course of action wargaming, is a systemic method for analysing a plan to visualise the potential ebb and flow of an operation. And these are either delivered through manual, so that is literally a board, counters and dice, versus computer war games. So as you can see, it's done via computer war games where we have the military set up almost with like Xbox controllers. A little bit on exercise virtual legal. So as I said, this is a 3-week-long exercise based out of a vehicle hangar. We were working directly with the military. As you can see, they were set up with laptops, Xbox controllers, and they essentially played in first person. There was about 250 laptops networked together, creating a battle group level virtual battle lab, which is the biggest of its kind. And essentially, we were testing the Army's Funded Force 2025 Armoured Infantry Battle Group against a representative peer threat and seeing how they got on with that. As I said, it was very cold, but it was also a great experience because you are working directly with about 200 of military guys. Just quickly, in the interest of time, just rattle off these ones. So this is a bit about historical analysis, which I do a lot of work on. This feeds quite a lot into war games, so it will be both qualitative and quantitative study of military history. So for instance, the Korean War, the Gulf War, Vietnam Wars have all been ones I've been working on recently. And essentially it's to calibrate models and war games and essentially check they're realistic, and it's the validation of them as well through the numerical extraction of statistics. So essentially it is going through lots of literature and trying to find out the exact amount of stuff that they used within a particular battle. So it's really interesting and has a big impact within war games. Finally, the Land Environment Integration Hub. So this is understanding essentially all the work that was going on within DSTL and where the gaps were. Obviously, there were certain boundaries set out by UK Army headquarters, but it was an opportunity to work directly with them. And for me at the time, being a relatively new starter, that was quite a big opportunity to be able to get to have a first-hand understanding, but also input into a lot of the meetings that we had there. So it was a chance to also lead my own work strand and create information packets which were distributed within our group, but it was also a chance for us to bring all this information from across the lab into one singular place as well. And on top of that, I also briefed senior analysts and briefed this at an internal conference, as well as speaking to kind of 1-star, 2-star level within the military. So that's quite senior, about what we had found out. So again, it's a really good opportunity for you to develop your kind of speaking skills, but getting that opportunity to speak directly to senior customers. So some of the opportunities to join us, we're currently recruiting for the following roles: so operational analysts, data scientists and data analysts, and wargamers. As said, so the form and online test, they close on the 9th of December. And essentially the whole process is a verbal and numerical test, and then you'll get sifted through, and then you have a recorded question time, and then questions, potentially if you get through to the interview stage, you then have a one-on-one. And that is me done. Thank you very much.
Great, great. Thanks, Ellie. As I said, we'll leave the questions until after the next presentation. We'll move swiftly on. We're a little bit behind, but we've got a bit of time after the end of this session, so we should be okay. Next up is the Smith Institute and Dr. Jamie Beacom.
Hi, thanks very much. I'll just share my screen now. Okay, there we go. So hopefully that's visible. Hi, yeah, so my name is Jamie, and I want to talk to you today about the Smith Institute and how I found myself working here and some of the opportunities that we have available. So, it's not moving. Okay, great. So I just wanted to start off with a short video introduction from our company's CEO, Heather, who will do a much better job of, whoops, who will do a much better job of introducing the Smith Institute than I can. So this is its world premiere, so I hope you're excited.
We believe that mathematics is a truly powerful tool that can solve the problems that matter in society, government, business, and the environment. Mathematical solutions can have powerful impacts from the very broad and complex, such as tackling climate change, to those that we see in the everyday world, such as having enough electricity at the right time. It's linked closely to the Smith Institute's mission statement to embrace challenges with integrity and solve them with creativity. We value the working relationships we have with our clients and know it's important to collaborate closely with them so we can truly understand their needs. For us, it's about developing honest and lasting relationships, and above all, creating the right solution to their problem, whether that's optimising a schedule or dealing with uncertainty around supply and demand. There's no single mathematical technique or strategy to fit all, and so the bespoke nature of our work with clients means that creativity is at the very heart of our business. The possibilities of harnessing mathematics are vast. We enable transformation for our clients across a variety of sectors, applying specialist domain knowledge paired with fresh thinking in transport, energy, defence, security, fast-moving consumer goods and telecommunications. From improving the performance of railways to meeting carbon zero targets, forecasting crop growth to verifying radio spectrum auctions, we've been tackling our clients' most critical and complex problems for over 20 years. We bring unmatched technical ingenuity to create the best solutions with lasting impact. Enabling diversity of thought and expertise is important to us in bringing the best solutions to our customers. Our culture is based on our values and provides a great environment for people to thrive. The Smith Institute team are at the heart of our business, and we hope each member of staff sees an exciting and happy future working for us. Our company ambition is to grow in size and capability to accommodate the market that we create for our services. By doing so, we provide incredible opportunities for staff to build careers through continued technical learning, taking on responsibility, and becoming the next generation of business leaders. We invest the profit we make in hiring more staff, developing mathematical capabilities, and delivering valuable insights to our customers. We also maintain a financial position to protect against economic turbulence and provide steady organic growth. We're ready to bring the boundless potential of mathematical ingenuity to the challenges that matter.
I just want to clarify that I did not choose that video because I appear in several cheesy stock photographs. So yes, just move on now to talk a little bit about myself. Oh, I don't want it to play again. Yeah, so as I said, my name is Jamie, and I'm a mathematical consultant at the Smith Institute. As you can probably tell, I'm not a native to England. I travelled over in 2010 from Northern Ireland to do my undergraduate maths degree at Oxford. I was among the purest of pure mathematicians, doing everything sort of algebraic number theory and algebraic geometry related. I loved it so much I found myself doing a DPhil in arithmetic geometry, although I'm not really sure how one finds themselves doing a DPhil in number theory. It's not something you just fall into. I spent it studying what we call arithmetic curves and trying to come up with computational algorithms to make some very abstract, fancy number theoretic machinery concrete and algebraic and sort of tangible. I moved to Swindon in 2018 during final year of my DPhil, because doing a DPhil wasn't quite hard enough. I ran the London Marathon last April at the same time as I was finishing writing up. So that's a picture of me and my mum when I was in quite a lot of pain and couldn't bend my knees. Not long after finishing my thesis and passing my viva, I started working for the Smith Institute as a mathematical consultant, and I've been here for about 16 months now. As 2019 hadn't been quite exciting enough, I also got engaged in Copenhagen in December. I really enjoyed my DPhil. It was an intellectually stimulating and challenging topic, and it was an area of maths I've loved for a long time. However, I couldn't sort of help asking myself the following question. Am I fundamentally missing something? I find that in my day-to-day work, I was missing a sense of impact and fulfillment. I mean, sure, sometimes you would get that wish when I, solved a problem I'd been working on for months, but there was the day-to-day was missing. And I felt like I'd developed a very narrow focus and wanted the opportunity to sort of broaden my horizons intellectually and mathematically, whilst at the same time doing something that I felt was important. So I came across the Smith Institute after sort of a chance comment from one of my tutors. Thought, they're probably not going to be interested in a really pure mathematician and number theorist, but I'll send in a CV anyway and see what happens. After my first interview, I had an immediate sense that, this is a company that I want to be involved in and be a part of. And, well, here I am now, about 16 months later. So what is the Smith Institute? We're a mathematical consultancy based in Oxford, where all the consultants pretty much have degrees in in the mathematical sciences. We've got 4 core capabilities in forecasting, optimization, algorithmic auditing, and artificial intelligence. We are the only UK premier partner for Garobi, which is a state-of-the-art solver for complex and challenging optimization problems. Our approach to how we work with clients and colleagues is underpinned by our 5 core values, which Heather mentioned in that video, which are integrity, clarity, creativity, motivating, and being supportive. We've worked with some big clients across a range of sectors, including EDF Energy, Coca-Cola European Partners, the Federal Communications Commission in the US, and National Grid Electricity Service Operator. National Grid is one client that I've been involved with recently on a really interesting project, which I'll delve into next. So this is a project which is going to appear in a case study on our company website soon, so look out for it. But the main idea is that National Grid, right, is balancing generation and demand for electricity precisely to maintain a secure and high quality electricity supply for Great Britain. The control room predicts when supply and demand will be imbalanced. When there's an imbalance, they instruct generators and consumers known as balancing mechanism units to change their power levels or provide other balancing services to ensure system security, such as response. Response is readiness to provide generation or demand at short notice to help National Grid recover from something like an unexpected event where maybe a power station goes down. So it's critical to the security of national infrastructure. As you can imagine, this is formulated as a very complex optimization problem because you've got lots of constraints on this, one of which is, matching demand with the generation. At the Smith Institute, we've been supporting National Grid as they modernize one of their core software tools in the balancing process using our expertise in optimization and algorithm design. The legacy algorithm was written at a time when generation was provided by less than 40 fossil fuel powered power stations. But changes to the energy market, including hundreds of smaller renewable BMUs like solar panels and wind units, is driving the need to modernize alongside a national grid commitment to a future zero carbon network. We've been able to help recommend an improved mathematical formulation of the model underlying their dispatch algorithm, along with other recommendations on algorithm and software design. So I've been working as part of this team now for quite a long time, where we created a proof of concept software demonstrating that our algorithm recommendations produce equivalent or better dispatch advice than the legacy algorithm. So I'm continuing my involvement with this project now as we work towards integration of a first version of the modernized dispatch algorithm in the control room and development of new functionalities. This involves a lot of things, but most importantly, working with our team and National Grid to understand their requirements and help them to achieve them. I think it's safe to say that I found the impact that I was looking for in my work. So this case study is going to be on our website, so you can find out more about it there. There's lots of other case studies on our website showing some of the other projects that we've been involved with and some of the other clients we've been involved with. There's also insight articles you can look at as well to get an idea of what we do. So what else have I been involved with in my first 16 months at the Smith Institute? So I've helped to co-organize a hackathon around machine learning for my colleagues, which we've had to do virtually thanks to the pandemic. We run regular staff development workshops on topics like unconscious bias training. And so I'm currently running a series of 4 workshops on active listening for my colleagues. I've been taking part in a project management sort of mentoring scheme to help develop relevant skills and help me progress towards leading my own project. Earlier in the year, the company paid for me to train as a mental health first aider, something I've always had an interest in and was involved with at university, so that I can help to support my colleagues and run events to promote sort of positive mental well-being. For example, running an event on imposter syndrome. I've just taken on my first technical leadership role in a project where I'm responsible for the overall technical direction and delivery of a project. Also working with our business development managers to explore new leads, put together proposals, and help ensure that the project meets what the client expects of it. Also been helping to plan social events, which are particularly important at the moment to make sure we all stay connected. For example, we've had virtual quizzes, we've done virtual and real escape rooms. Pre-pandemic, we went rock climbing together and went for a curry afterwards. We board game evenings. At the moment, there's been an ongoing kind of weekly Bake Off challenge to attempt one of the challenges from that week's episode of Bake Off with some predictably disastrous results. Also take part in marketing events like this, where we come along to share what we do and talk about what it's like to work at the Smith Institute. So what have I taken away from my first 16 months at the Smith Institute? So as I mentioned before, I was looking for fulfillment and challenging work, and I found it as well as worthwhile and impactful problems. At the pandemic aside, at the Smith Institute, we have the option of working from home almost all the time if we wish, which has been great for me because it allows me to have flexibility to live in Swindon, where my partner's work is based. My colleagues live all over the place, so Exeter, London, Cambridge, Oxford, Birmingham, Worcester, Lancaster. So that's really one of the big draws, I think, for people, is that flexibility. The work environment is incredibly supportive. So, for example, we've just introduced a caring allowance, so sort of well-being days that you can take sort of aside from your annual leave, just if you feel like you need, maybe half a day just to reset yourself and just to look after your own mental health. I feel like my colleagues take an active interest in my career development, and they're always eager to find and give each other opportunities to progress and to learn. And hopefully everything I've talked about so far shows how many opportunities there are to get involved at the Smith Institute. I mean, I really feel that there's an opportunity for you to create your own path for yourself and create a role for yourself in the Smith Institute, which is sort of what I've done with things like the mental health first aider role. So if something isn't there that you think should be, you just bring it in. So in terms of some roles that we are actively recruiting for, we have openings for mathematical consultants, statistical consultants as well. We also have paid full-time 3 to 6 month mathematical internships where you have a chance to get fully involved in some of our projects, contribute to company life, and just be a real member of the team. So they're not treated any differently to any other member of staff. Applying for these roles is very simple. All you need to do is send in a CV, reference details, and a covering letter to that email address there. You can find more detail on these roles and how to apply at the careers page on our website. The next step after applying is pretty relaxed, general interview, which at the moment would be done virtually. We want to find out about you, what your interests are, what experiences you have. This is followed by a skills-based interview for technical roles. This isn't about getting it right, but showing how you approach real-world problems. What matters more is how you approach problems. Are you intellectually curious? Are you a creative problem solver? Can you motivate others, like colleagues and clients, with your ideas? Can you convey complex ideas with clarity and conciseness to help non-technical, people understand? Can you support your colleagues as you work together in a team to deliver high-quality product to the client? As sort of the Capgemini host Aberdeen and Tanaka said, the main thing is just stay calm and be yourself. I'd also like to draw your attention to our Take Aim competition, which has just opened. So this is an annual competition that we run, which gives students like yourself the chance to showcase your work on the industrial stage. The competition goal is to highlight the crucial role maths plays in solving real-world problems. This year is the 10th anniversary, and we have some great sponsors, including Dyson and Mondelez International. The prize this year is £1,000 and your choice of Apple or Amazon vouchers, and there's also an early bird entrant draw for £50 Amazon vouchers. So if you're keen, just don't delay. It's just a 250-word submission describing your mathematics, your research, what you're interested in. Your delegate pack should include more competition details, or you can visit our website at this address. So yeah,
brilliant. Thank you. We're going to have to stop you there. Sorry, slightly running over, but brilliant. Thank you. We'll hand over to Gavin now, and hopefully for some questions, and hopefully if there's anything else you were going to cover, we can cover it in the Q&A.
Great, thanks very much, Jamie. That's very interesting. So if all of the presenters would like to show themselves and unmute themselves, we'll work through some of the questions that have been submitted. Okay, the first one I'm going to tackle, whilst it was put to one of the things, I think it's equally applicable across all of them. Are there any restrictions on who can apply for your roles? For example, is it restricted to UK nationals? Are there any security clearance concerns that are applicable? Who'd like to go with that one first?
Yeah, I can go. Sorry, it's Aberdeen. There are some restrictions. So Capgemini do not do any visa sponsors, for example, if you need a visa sponsor. If that's not a problem, then you may need a security clearance to some of the public sector projects, but apart from that, it should be fine.
Great. Anybody else want to come? DSTL, I guess you guys are probably top of this thought
Yeah,
here.
thanks, Gavin. Yeah. I'm afraid all our roles require a high level of security clearance, so we're only able to offer them to UK nationals. However, there may be opportunities with some of our defence partners for if you've got dual nationality, but for us ourselves, it's just UK nationals.
Great, thank you. I'm guessing Southampton don't have too much worries about this at the moment. Jamie, anything particular from your side?
Like Capgemini, we don't sponsor work visas, but there aren't specific restrictions on nationality for applying to the Smith Institute or working with us. It's just that some of the projects that we do, if they require security clearance, it may be the case that you will be able to be involved with that particular project.
Good. Quick one for Capgemini. When can I apply for the Accelerate program? When's the deadline?
So we currently don't have a deadline. Applications are open, but I would advise to apply as soon as possible, because once we have enough applications, we can close it at our discretion. So we have a rolling application essentially.
Great, thank you. Okay, a question for everybody. Aside from recording my degree, what else might I do to demonstrate that I'm qualified or a good fit for your organisation? Who fancies taking that one first?
Yeah, I can take it first. So for DSTL, we'd probably be looking at kind of the extracurricular, any leadership roles if you've been within a society, particularly if you've had to do presentations within your degree or present analysis. Those would be the kind of extra things to flesh out your application that we'd be looking for.
Anybody else want to take on that one? Jamie?
Yeah. Aside from sort of your degree, it isn't essential, but it can be beneficial and sort of applying to work with us if you have some way of demonstrating that you have used your experience to help people solve real world problems in terms of like business applications. So what I'm really thinking of here is things like student consultancies. If you can get involved with things like that, where you're then linked up to a real business that has a real problem and work with them to help them solve it, that's like the kind of thing that is really good to demonstrate the skills that we're interested in, because so much of what we do is involved with, you know, engaging with clients, meeting their requirements.
Anybody else want to add to that one?
I can add to that one. So I think for me, so when I applied for Capgemini, they actually told me one of the reasons that I got the job was because I showed like a keen interest to learn more. So when applying for the analytics grad scheme, I just did a lot of like coding in my spare time and studied upon that. I think also just being aware of the industry you're trying to enter. So just, you know, keep up to date. You know, there's Google, there's the newspapers, things like this. This will really help you. It'll help you, and it'll help you in like, it'll help the interviewer. So it just shows that like, okay, you have a keen, genuine interest in the industry you're applying for. And it can also show when you're doing further learning, okay, this is what he's interested in. He's actually put more work behind this to pursue this career. So that'll be my advice.
Great, thank you. Okay, next one for our colleagues at Southampton. What's available in terms of scholarships for MSc courses, for example?
Sorry, I think you might have slightly misread that. I think they're asking if our master's scholarship is a good fit for the Southampton degrees.
Well, I was trying to extend it out. I'll answer that one if that's the case. The scholarships offered by the OR Society are indeed a good fit for the courses at Southampton. Are there any other scholarship opportunities for people applying for master's courses?
Yeah, I think maybe I can say something quickly there. Maybe Judy might probably have some more knowledge in it. So yeah, I think we have a few from the math side. I'm not sure whether they are open with the business school as well. We usually offer some partial scholarships as well. So I think about 3 or so a year, although in the current COVID situation, I'm not sure whether they would be open this year, but yeah, annually we have about 3 or so scholarship for our master's programs. In addition to other external opportunities like the OR Society one. We've had a few in the last few years as well. A few of our students who have had the OR Society scholarship, which is obviously larger than the amount of money is obviously larger than what we offer. But yeah, it's something, I guess.
In the SBS in the Southampton Business School, we don't offer a scholarship this year, and we do have some potential scholarship for PhD funded by the South Coast Doctoral Training Partnership. So if you are interested in a PhD, there are some opportunities, funding opportunities, but not from MSc at this stage.
Okay. Sorry, Julie, carry on.
Sorry, Gavin. If you are interested in one of the OR scholarships that Alan is talking about, one of our colleagues is responsible for that sort of side of things who isn't part of this presentation. So do feel free to drop me an email and I can signpost you to the appropriate person within Maths OR at Southampton. And I'd also like to mention that Boeing, for both Maths and the Business School, they provide in each area, 1,500 scholarship per year for a student in both the Business School and Maths OR to support their studies. So Boeing are very supportive of activities in this area. And if any other organisations would like to sponsor or support students through scholarships, do get in touch.
Okay, sticking with Southampton for the moment, can you tell us more about postdoc opportunities?
So, yeah, yeah. So just a postdoc opportunity. So we don't really have like, I know some universities occasionally might have something, some postdoc positions, bit like scholarship. We don't really have that. So postdoc are more on a kind of project base. So if someone at Southampton has a project in a specific area where they like to recruit someone, so they would advertise that. So at the moment, we probably have a few projects coming. So usually, I personally am running a project. We'll be opening for recruitment from December. So in the area of optimization and operational research. So, and all our positions are usually advertised on jobs.ac.uk. So if you're interested in a postdoc position in Southampton, you just check there. You probably see all the opportunities available, but we don't have postdoc position in the form of on a rolling basis like scholarship or so. So they're just project based, and then recruitment is open and it's advertised typically on jobs.ac.uk. Yeah. Maybe Tony, maybe
it's worth highlighting that site. So jobs.southampton.ac.uk, where all the positions that we open are listed there, and we are quite active with knowledge transfer partnership projects and KTP projects, and we are quite active opening new postdocs positions, and all of them are listed there. So and then you will have you will find the contact details for each one of the PIs or main researchers, so you can ask questions to them directly. Yeah.
Okay. Next one, I'm going to combine a couple of questions together. So it's around being a bit more clarity about degree subject areas that are perhaps related to those you've mentioned. So would a PhD in physics count as mathematical sciences, or do you mainly hire mathematicians by training? Or I'm currently pursuing an MSc in business analytics and finance, not a completely mathematical area. Can I apply for the Capgemini program? Jamie?
Yeah, just answering on behalf of the Smith Institute, most of our employees do have a background in mathematical sciences, by which I mean mathematics, physics, engineering, computer science, data science, operational research. And most have higher degrees, so masters or PhDs. So that being said, we are quite a broad church in terms of background, covering all those kind of bases. And as I sort of said in my presentation, sort of the main thing for us is more how you approach problems. So, I mean, I didn't think that I would be suitable because of my number theory background, because I had very little real world experience, but it was about how I approached problems in my interview. was the most important thing?
Yeah, I also just wanted to add from Capgemini, the degree that you study isn't so much what's important, although if you do study a mathematical or like quantitative subject, you're probably at an advantage when it comes to analytics or data science. But because of our in-house training capabilities, we're able to start everyone up from scratch. And as long as, as Jamie said, you show how you tackle problems and your willingness to learn, you'll be fine. So although I did study economics, that's not really, it was a bit quantitative, but not so much as physics or maths or like any of those other subjects.
Yeah, just to add to that, I think the main thing that Capgemini is looking for is just a keen interest in analytics rather than you've done analytics before, because again, I think we understand that you're coming in at a graduate level. We don't expect you to have solved the world's problems at that point. So it's just more an understanding of analytics and just how to think analytically. So that doesn't need to necessarily cover any sort of degree. So it could be, I did maths, but even then there was a lot of people who didn't do maths who were just fine in the assessment center.
Okay, another one for you two Capgemini guys. Is the Capgemini graduate program a permanent graduate role, or is it a fixed term contract with the opportunity to convert into a permanent role at the end of the program?
So I believe it's a permanent role. Is a permanent role. So that's worry about that.
Thank you. And top of the tree currently, can you, Capgemini again, I'm afraid, can you talk a bit more about the learning opportunities and progression within Capgemini?
Tanaka, do you want to start?
Yeah, there's a host of learning opportunities. As I'm in the institute, we have Friday training, so I get to brush up on the core consulting skills, so presenting, Excel, project management, and just more so the basics. After the institute, you get to specialize in a host of different courses, which Aberdeen started to do. What was the other part of the question? I'm sorry.
Just more about the progression and training.
Oh, the progression. So after the 21 months of the graduate scheme, obviously you're a permanent employee, so you're no longer in the graduate scheme, but you'd be, you can get put up for a promotion, I believe. So you can go from a C1 to a C2, which is the next, I guess, ranking in as a consultant. So going from an associate consultant to a consultant.
Yeah, just to add on to that. So in terms of training, so as Tanaka mentioned, the first 9 months is just more focusing on the core consultancy skills rather than trying to specialize anything. So the stage I'm at now, where I'm in the Analytics Academy, that's more me trying to specialize in a certain area of analytics. So if you want to know specifically the training available, it really just depends on you. So I think there's a lot of set training that is given to you, but if you can request to do training that hasn't been included in, I guess, the training toolkit, and Capgemini will be more than happy to kind of assist you with that. So just currently for myself, I'm doing a data science course. So that's about 9 months long. So that's quite comprehensive. So, and that kind of starts with people who have no analytical experience and takes you all the way up. There's also experience in cloud platforms such as AWS and Google Cloud platforms. So that's really useful as well. If you're also more interested in visualization, there's training in Power BI and Tableau and things like this as well. So yeah, it really just depends on what you're going for. And even once you reach consultant, once you've kind of finished the grad scheme and become a consultant, there's more training for maybe becoming a managing consultant, how to manage teams, how to work in an agile manner, things like that. So yeah, there's always going to be training available for should you wish to receive it.
Okay, great. Another one, general one. What level of experience do you look for roles in data science or machine learning?
Is this for Capgemini again?
For all of it, for anybody.
For us, at the graduate level, we don't look for any like specific level of experience. Again, it's just a key interest in analytics. I think if you're coming as an experienced hire, there might be some experience needed in terms of modeling, but yeah, at the graduate level, there's no necessary experience required.
Paul?
Yeah, we're pretty much the same as Capgemini on that. There's yeah, at graduate level, we'd be interested in particular degrees, which are on our role profile, but yeah, and experience in programming is desirable as well.
Anything to add to that one, Jamie?
Our answer is pretty much the same as Capgemini and DSTL. I think maybe where we slightly differ from say Capgemini is that we don't have any specific sort of technical training courses, you know, on the job, in the job, although there are opportunities to attend externally run training courses, for example, those run by the UR Society. We tend to do all of our training sort of on the job, on real projects, in the sense that you see the impact of what you're doing right away, but you've got support from the rest of your team and you sort of learn in the role.
Okay, quick one for Capgemini. Is the graduate program specifically for first degree holders, or are there opportunities for masters or PhD holders?
More opportunities for all. So there's a whole range. So I came with a bachelor's, but I also came in with people who did masters. PhDs, you can start with a PhD, but I think most PhD people come in as experienced hires. But again, if you want to start at the graduate level, you're more than welcome to.
Okay, super. One for Southampton. Are any of the Southampton Masters courses particularly suited to OR applications in healthcare?
So maybe, yeah, I can start with that. So I think all the masters that we have a significant component of, we have some courses actually on healthcare. I think we all have OR courses for healthcare. So we have a few of our staff members, we have at least two colleagues who are experts in OR techniques for healthcare management. Christine Curie and Honora Smith, they are not here with us. And I think from the business school side as well, we have one of the UK leaders in that area, which is Sally Bracewell, that some of you might know. So I think we are well equipped in that area. So both in the research aspects of things, as well as in the courses that we offer. So we have significant component of our courses to involve both OR in healthcare modeling and so on. Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks, Alan. We've got a lot more questions, but we'll get round to answering those offline and sharing.
Yeah, there's a quite a popular question here, just for Jamie. What are the main challenges in updating the energy network algorithms in terms of future-proofing for new alternate energy sources?
Yeah, unfortunately, just because of confidentiality arrangements with National Grid, there's not very much more I can say beyond what I've already said. So yeah, that's quite a tough one to answer, unfortunately.
All right, and then just finally, for Southampton, a few people want to know how you can be a lecturer at Southampton Business School. What are the requirements, and maybe a little bit on the application process?
Yeah, so it's actually the same, probably I forgot to say that, but it's the same. So all the opening positions we have are listed in that on that site, jobs.sutton.ac.uk. So if we have opportunities to join as a lecturer, then we will post them there. We have been quite proactively actively this year. We hire, like in the business school at least, we hire more than 15 lecturers, I think, last year. So we are expanding. So it's surely there will be some more opportunities.
And then finally, sorry, just one DSTL specific one. Do you offer any summer internships in OR?
We normally do, because we recognise the great opportunity that they provide, but unfortunately this summer we're not able to offer any, but hopefully it's something we can do again in the future. There are some opportunities available in some of our other divisions, which are on dstlgrads.co.uk, but I'm afraid probably not any in our analysis division this year.
No, that's great. All right, thank you very much. Yes, I'm just gonna wrap up a little bit here before handing back over to Gavin to thank you all for joining. If you're in our first session this morning, you'll have seen Eve and I give you a bit of a run through of the resources, support and opportunities that the Our Society offer for students in their career search and also professional development. So if you've missed that, you can watch the video when it's sent around to you after the event. But student membership is completely free, and if you're a student member, you can also get our post-student rate for just £1 a month as well once you graduate. So you can just take the last few minutes of the session. You can sign up to be a student member. The links to that should be in the chat. If not, Eve will pop them in now. And then also you can grab one of our remaining few one-to-one sessions with some of our exhibitors taking place on Thursday. And if you have already booked some one-to-ones, we'd encourage you just to make sure your bookings are up to date, and that if your questions have already been answered in the session today or the session this morning, just to cancel that booking so you can make it available for another student who wasn't able to get their questions asked. We will make sure to send around answers to all the questions that weren't able to be asked on this session after we've finished the whole event. And yeah, just hope to see all of the students at our next session, which is starting at 2:30. So I'll hand over back to you, Gavin.
Great, thanks, Amy. So great big thanks to all of our presenters today. Hopefully all of you listening in have found that useful and some inspiration for a future career or further study. As Amy said, we've got a third session of the day starting at 2:30, so please do come back for more of that. We've got 4 more great talks lined up from Atkins, IBM, FICO and the Government OR Service. So I look forward to seeing you later this afternoon. Thanks very much. Cheerio.